As I strolled through the lush vineyards, the warm sun beating down on my skin, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and anticipation. The air was alive with the sweet scent of ripening grapes, and I could almost taste the promise of a bountiful harvest. But it wasn't just the vines that had me feeling so alive. It was the knowledge that I would soon be sharing this idyllic setting with someone special. My lover, who had promised to join me for a day of wine tasting and sensual exploration. As we walked hand in hand through the rows of vines, the grapes seeming to grow heavier with each step, our desire grew stronger. We laughed and whispered sweet nothings to each other, the tension building between us like the pressure of a ripe bunch of grapes about to burst forth into juicy abundance. Finally, we reached the rustic cottage that served as our private winery. The door creaked open, revealing a cozy interior filled with the warm glow of candles and the soft hum of a wine press. We shed our clothes, leaving them in a heap on the floor, and began to explore each other's bodies like tender shoots bursting forth from the earth. The scent of wine mingled with the sweet aroma of desire as we savored every moment together, our love growing stronger with each passing hour. And when we finally collapsed onto the soft hay, exhausted but fulfilled, I knew that this harvest would be one for the ages, a season of love and passion that would stay with me forever. As we lay there, our bodies entwined like the vines that surrounded us, I couldn't help but think about how much my life had changed since I met him. Just a few months ago, I was a successful businesswoman, focused on my career and with little time for romance or adventure. But then he came into my life, and everything changed. He swept me off my feet with his charming smile and adventurous spirit, and before I knew it, we were inseparable. Now, as we basked in the warm glow of our love, I realized that this was what I had been missing all along, a sense of connection and belonging that went beyond just a job or a title. This was what life was meant to be about: love, laughter, and adventure with someone by your side. As we drifted off to sleep, lulled by the gentle hum of the wine press outside, I knew that this harvest would be one for the ages, not just because of the delicious wine we had made together, but because of the memories we were creating along the way. And as I snuggled closer to him, feeling his warm breath on my skin, I knew that our love would continue to grow and flourish like the vines that surrounded us. As we woke up from our nap, the sun was beginning to set over the vineyards, casting a golden glow over the rolling hills. We stretched out our arms and yawned, feeling refreshed and rejuvenated after our afternoon of lovemaking. We decided to take a walk through the vines once more, this time with a different perspective. As we strolled hand in hand, I couldn't help but notice the beauty of the vineyard at sunset. The grapes seemed to glow with an inner light, as if they were infused with the magic of our love. As we walked, we talked about our future together. We discussed our plans for building a life filled with love, laughter, and adventure. We spoke of starting a family one day and creating a home that was filled with warmth and joy. The sun dipped below the horizon as we reached the top of the hill where we had first met. We sat down on the grassy slope, watching as the stars began to twinkle in the night sky. "I love you," I said, turning to him with tears in my eyes. "I love you too," he replied, his voice filled with emotion. We sat there for a long time, holding hands and gazing up at the stars. We knew that our love was strong enough to overcome any obstacle, and we were excited to see what the future held for us. As we made our way back down the hill, I couldn't help but feel grateful for this harvest of love. It had been a season of growth and abundance, and I knew that it would stay with me forever. As we walked back to the cottage, hand in hand, I couldn't help but think about how much my life had changed since I met him. Just a few months ago, I was a successful businesswoman, focused on my career and with little time for romance or adventure. But now, as we approached our cozy home, I knew that this was where I belonged, surrounded by the beauty of nature, filled with love and laughter, and making memories that would last a lifetime. As we entered the cottage, I noticed that he had set up a small table in the center of the room. It was covered with a beautiful lace cloth, and on it were 2 glasses and a bottle of wine. He smiled at me, his eyes twinkling with mischief, and said, "I have one more surprise for you." He poured us each a glass of wine, and we sat down to enjoy it together. As we sipped our wine, he told me about his plans for the future, how he wanted to build a life filled with love, laughter, and adventure. As we talked, I knew that this was what I had been missing all along, a sense of connection and belonging that went beyond just a job or a title. This was what life was meant to be about: love, laughter, and adventure with someone by your side. And as we finished our wine, he took my hand in his and said, "I want to spend the rest of my life making memories with you." I smiled at him, feeling my heart full of joy and gratitude, and knew that this was where I belonged, with him, surrounded by love and laughter. As we sat there holding hands and gazing into each other's eyes, I couldn't help but feel grateful for this harvest of love. It had been a season of growth and abundance, and I knew that it would stay with me forever. But as we sat there, lost in our own little world, I heard the sound of footsteps outside. We looked at each other, wondering who could be visiting us so late at night. The door creaked open, and a figure stepped inside. It was an old man, dressed in worn clothing and carrying a large basket on his back. He smiled at us, his eyes twinkling with kindness, and said, "I've come to share some news with you." We invited him in, curious about what he had to say. As we sat down around the table, he began to speak. "I'm the owner of this vineyard," he said, "and I have a special gift for you both. You see, this harvest has been one of the most bountiful ones in years, and as a token of my appreciation, I want to give you a special bottle of wine." He pulled out a small, intricately carved wooden box from his basket and opened it. Inside was a beautiful bottle of wine, adorned with intricate carvings and a delicate label. "This is the finest wine we've ever produced," he said, "and I want you both to have it as a reminder of this special harvest." We thanked him profusely, feeling grateful for his generosity. As we watched him leave, I turned to my lover and smiled. "I think this is the perfect ending to our harvest," I said. He nodded in agreement, and we raised our glasses in a toast to our love and to the future. As we sipped our wine, I knew that this was what life was meant to be about: sharing moments of joy and beauty with the people you love. And as we sat there, surrounded by the warmth and magic of our harvest, I knew that our love would continue to grow and flourish like the vines that had brought us together.